It's so lovely to be here with you today. My name is Ta Mavundla, and I've been asked to be the moderator for today's discussion. A little bit on my background. First of all, before I tell you about my background, I'd like to say how honored I am to be a part of this platform, to get to network with all the wonderful women that are doing great things here. I was only recently told that I'd get to be a moderator for the discussion, and I'm so excited to just hear the different various viewpoints that all of you wonderful women have. I am very passionate about women empowerment. I'm the founder of Zanda Zonke, which is a management consulting firm which focuses on tailor-made leadership for women. And the whole idea behind this is the fact that women shouldn't need to feel as though they should behave like men in top leadership positions. And now with the discussion that we're going to be having here today on women empowerment, a policy perspective, it's really going to be interesting to just hear your various viewpoints, and as well as your background, as well as your experiences too. Now, without going any further, I'd love for our panelists to just introduce themselves.
Oh, shall I go next? So my name is Pauliina Mapata, and I'm a Finn, but I live in South Africa since 2005. And I've got about 20-year career in the socio-economic development, international development sectors, both in Finland internationally and then in South Africa. But since 2019, I've then sort of felt that pushing paper and working only on policy level is not maybe the main thing for me, and I transitioned to be a coach. And I believe that in addition to the systemic level change and the policy that we're going to discuss, we also need to look inward and empower individuals. So these two things must come together. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Pauliina. It's beautiful. Who is our next panelist that we have? Who'd like to go next?
Perhaps I could go next. My name is Refilo Mashego, and I am a co-founder of an NGO with, let me just enable my video, with 3 other dynamic ladies. We started Languni in 2016, if I'm not incorrect. But the NGO Languni, what it aims to do is basically raise awareness on a variety of issues such as science, technology, health and wellness, indigenous knowledge systems, and so forth. And what we do is we host career guidance sessions and other awareness raising sessions just to outreach to other people who may not be having access to such information. So I will be talking briefly about that and how we work together with youth and women in achieving our goals. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Refilo. Thank you, Refilo. Thank you so much. Who'd like to go next?
We only have 2 panelists for this session, so you can just carry on with this panelists.
No problem. While we're at it, I'd like to introduce Phumelele Higgins, who will also be moderating for the discussion. Phumelele? Is she here? There we go.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon all. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm happy to be sharing the stage with the most beautiful, intelligent women in this international Women Empowerment Summit that we decided to pull together. And I'm looking forward to the discussions. And like I've been introduced, my name is Phumelele Higgins. I'm the advisory committee for the YUCI, which is the Youth United Council of India. I've joined the organization, I think, in the past 2 months, but in those 2 months, I feel like it's been my home for a long time, and we've done a couple of projects already. Last month, we did the International Mandela Day, which was a great success, and I'm looking forward to have this panel discussion also be a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Phumelele. All right.
Okay, so I will briefly speak about Languni. So our slogan is where knowledge and collaboration is key. I think I should just introduce myself again to those who may have missed it. My name is Refilwe Mashego, and I work very closely with 2 other ladies who I believe they're listening in on the discussions. I'll share their names. One is Tsuyela Matubatuba, Miss Tsuyela Matubatuba Lamini, and the other lady is Miss Sari Sosisukule. So as you can see there are pictures, but just to briefly speak on Languni. So our mission is to create content that educates, guides, and inspires society, especially youth and women, and to preserve and promote knowledge that builds and benefits society. So what we do is to create opportunities or platforms where we share information about a variety of areas such as science, technology, health, and other areas to people who may not have access to this information. So our vision in doing all of this is to create a platform that enables the nation to find innovative solutions by contributing to creating a well-informed society for the future of Africa, especially in this day and age where there's an overload of information. What we do is we bring together key stakeholders that will share the correct information and ensure that the people that we engage with are adequately informed. So what is Languni? It's an NPO, it's a non-profit organization. As I said, it's founded by the 3 of us. And our mission is obviously to educate and guide and inspire the society on aspects that can contribute to creating a prosperous, informed society. Because we believe that an informed society makes better decisions and leads to a society that is well-informed and productive. So our work includes, so what we do, we aim to preserve Africa's traditional practices, knowledge, and heritage, particularly in South Africa. But this does not mean that we're not open to collaboration with institutions outside of South Africa. We have had instances where we have collaborated with institutions from other countries as well in delivering our mandate. So this includes linguistic practices, food, literature, songs, rituals, artifacts, and clothing. Our objectives are health and wellness, knowledge sharing and collaboration, career guidance, and information and fingertips. So this is just a summary of what I shared in the previous slide. So what we do is we ensure that South African cultural and knowledge is preserved and passed on from generation to generation by hosting events and creating programs by creating programs that educate youngsters and adults on South Africa's diverse traditional and cultural practices. So we do this, as I said, by convening career exhibitions, seminars, and raising awareness on any fields such as science and technology, history, life sciences, and life sciences. So these subjects and others have an element of culture and tradition stemming from hundreds of years ago. I'll just quickly go over what we have achieved to date. We've had a number of events and webinars. I think because of the COVID pandemic, we've been quite limited in having physical engagements. So what we've done recently to have webinars. For example, we had a webinar on the role of Indigenous knowledge in combating pandemics. So this happened towards the start of the pandemic in early 2020. And then we also had an Africa Day edition in May, in May 2020, which focused on what it means to be an African scientist during COVID-19. So what we did was to gather scientists who have done excellent work in working around addressing the COVID-19 pandemic. And then we also had an event, or rather a webinar, where we invited youth to speak on jobs of the future. So in doing so, we wanted to entice the youth in taking up careers within the science field in areas where they're not usually interested in. So this included like agricultural sciences, health sciences, and so forth. And then we also had a career guidance session, also just to profile careers that are not traditional to the youth. And then we had another career guidance session recently for high school students in grade 10, 11, and 12. And we had a COVID-19 food drive. This was during 2020, during the hard lockdown that we had here in South Africa. What we did was to request donations for money to buy groceries for those who are disadvantaged and were struggling to put food on their table during that time. And then we also had breast cancer and prostate cancer awareness sessions. We've had 2 of these. The first one happened in, I think, 2019 or so, 2018 or 2019. And I think this was when likely physical engagements were still possible. So we had quite a great turnout, as you can see with the picture on the right, at the bottom right, where we invited people who have had experience with dealing with cancer, breast cancer, and they came and shared their stories with the general public. And then we also had a webinar recently in October 2020, or rather not so recent, where we shared information about prostate cancer and breast cancer, the symptoms and how to deal with it, and what channels are there to speak to people who have experienced this, and how to speak to a doctor to find out how you can deal with in case where you're where you become a patient of cancer. And then just lastly, we are open for collaboration. We would like to work with institutions from across the world. We would like to partner on career guidance sessions, projects such as ICT programs for schools. And of course, we would like to work with the youth and women in development initiatives. I think we can take questions if there are, but this is my presentation, and I would like to thank you once again for inviting us to this event. Thank you.
I'm not sure if I can come in with a question, or should I wait for the star to invite me? Can I come in, sir?
Yes, you can. 1,000 apologies. I just have a few technical errors on my side. But yes, okay. Please, Phumelele. Thank you so much for the great presentation, Refilwe. It was amazing.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Refilwe. Thank you very much for your presentation. And I must say, it's very uncommon to have 3 young ladies running an NPO, and not only running an NPO, but running it from their own pockets and from their own funds. And you mentioned that the organization, you are funding it yourselves, yourself together, and I've forgotten the other lady. Congratulations for the work that you are doing. So since the topic of this session is about women empowerment, because what I believe is that what you're doing here is women empowerment. But women empowerment comes up with so many things. And in your case, the way I look at it, the issue of funding is the problem here, not the problem or the challenge, or it's something that can make you not be able to deliver all the programs that you want to deliver. So my question to you is, with the NPOs, do you feel the government should play a role in terms of maybe funding the NPOs, or have a policy that supports women that wants to run the NPOs?
Thank you, Pamela, for that question. Definitely, there should be initiatives that are run by government that supports the work of NGOs, particularly because there's a lot that can be done from NGOs. There are other NGOs that are doing a lot of work in terms of social development and other areas, but I do think that there should be more support in terms of financial support and providing them with the opportunities to do more. I think there's a lot of things that can be done if those two areas are addressed by government, but yeah, there definitely is a role from government for government to play in terms of strengthening NGOs and supporting them in order to fill the gaps that they, when I say they, I mean governments, that governments may not be able to fulfill. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Refilwe. I think we can invite now our second speaker. I think it's Paulina.
Thank you. Maybe before I go to my own topic, just to also to say, so lovely to see young women working on purpose and on what they are passionate about. I wish you all the best, Refilwe, with your colleagues or with your other founding members. And I think one of the things what Refilwe said was about, and Pumelele was asking, was about what is the government's role in supporting the various initiatives of women and young women, maybe in particular. And maybe I think I want to share a little bit of how my country of origin, how the gender equality and women empowerment, a little bit about the history and to see why are we or why are they, because I'm actually staying in South Africa, but how is the Finnish society where they are today? Isn't it today our the Finnish Prime Minister is a female, and the cabinet is mostly female, and it's not just happening overnight. And one of the things I think currently Finland is the number 6 internationally, where in relation to women's rights or equal rights between women and men internationally. So yeah, scores at number 6 in all the countries. And if we're looking at the policy, so for women to feature in the policies, women need to have political rights. And that is something that Finland was the first country to provide women full political rights. And that was in 1006. So, and thereafter, I think what also played a huge role was that Finland had huge wars. Like, I mean, it's a small country. Currently, I think, is it 5.6 million people in the whole country? So like a tiny, tiny place compared to India or South Africa or many other countries. But in the early well, 1917, Finland became independent, and before that there was the Independence War and the first World War then on those times, and also like a Civil War, and then came the Second World War. And those were some of the key happenings that whilst all the men, or most of the men, were soldiers and attending to the war, women were left home to take care of everything, which meant that that they didn't only care for the children and the house. They also needed to find a way to make money, to do other things. So women actually entered in the workforce in large numbers, and obviously in a major wars and all that, you also lose a lot of men. So they continued occupying having their role in building the economy and in the workforce. And I think that is one of the key pillars of to have the political rights, and then to have also the economic rights. And when you have economic rights, it's much about also what is your own contribution, and that you are not seen as just part of your husband, but that you are seen as an equal partner in your marriage, which was another a key policy decision in 1930s, that women, they were released the so-called guardianship in the marriage. And then later on, I think when UN also started to really look at the gender equality, I think Finnish government really followed suit and brought those UN guidelines into the national level and developed various policies, whether at the workplace or elsewhere. And I'm just maybe at a personal level. So I was born in Finland. I was born in 1972, so I'm now 49, and like I really grew up in a family where both parents were working already. My grandparents both all were working. They were professionals, and like the way that also the women have been supported beyond having that very traditional role to care for family and do the unpaid work, was that it's not only maternity leave, for example, what an employer needs to pay or accommodate, but it's called parental leave. So it's either the father or the mother who can choose to stay home with the baby. So that is like bringing more equality there. And also it's highly subsidized. Daycare for children is highly subsidized by each municipality. So it allows women to participate actively in the work outside of home. So I think these are the interesting things, and like what I saw when I moved to South Africa was that when I started to attend, all the kind of community events and schools and all that, it was a big thing for me to see that, for example, in a school event, a principal, whenever he would call a boy to the stage to get some kind of a certificate, he would be talking about, how good this boy is and has this mathematical and logical skills, and is like a father or something like that. And then when a girl comes to the stage to receive some kind of a certificate or award, the talk is about you can be the next Miss South Africa, how beautiful you are just like your mom. And it's not only in South Africa, I mean, even in Finland, even if I grew up in sort of rather leveled environment, and I think I only met gender stereotypes at some sort of a professional places where I think it has been still mainly leaders were still mainly men, and some kind of attitude towards the woman. But basically what I'm saying is that even if we have these policies, and South Africa is also one of the countries that has really stepped up, and just the constitution is one of the advanced ones in relation to human rights, and also gender empowerment, various strategies and all that. But as long as at home or at our community level and at the family level, we still have the sort of older traditions, then we will end up as individuals easily having some limitations, because we tend to learn through socialization process, how do we behave. And that is now what I'm actually working on as a coach. And most of my clients are women leaders or professionals who I still find they have some of these limitations just because of how they've been raised and the society around us, which I think we are not yet equal. We are supposed to be equal, but we are not yet having it. And so it's in addition to, we have to work on that systemic level to have the policies and the laws and the acts and strategies, well, internationally, nationally, even at each and every organization. But there is a lot of work to do to empower ourselves and look inward to see, like, for example, am I taking my space and my place at the workplace, or when I'm studying or something? Am I communicating assertively? And am I heard? And how can I believe that as a woman, my viewpoint or my insight is as important than the insights or viewpoints of the men in the boardroom? So those are interesting things. Yeah, I think, and if I didn't know how long time I have, but maybe some of the key things, just to share what seems to come up when in coaching sessions with the women that I coach. One is the self-confidence, that we need to further build the self-confidence. And I think it is that in many cultures, we are trained to be that we are supposed to be the, not really visible, but to be there to support and serve others. And it's also maybe the female nurturing nature, just because we are mothers, we are caring for others. But but to have the confidence to say that in any situation or any level of the society, we are supposed to have the 50% of the seats, and we should be heard, and we have something to say. So it's a lot about building that self-worth and self-confidence. Also, we tend to, as women, naturally care for others. And that is, I'm not taking it away. I think it's very important and very, very something to treasure. But it's also important that the women, we need to also care for ourselves. Like I always talk about first-class self-care, and I'm not talking about beauty salons and hairdos and nails or things like that, which is also good. I mean, you need to pamper yourself sometimes. But I am talking about having time for yourself. Also having the good night's sleep, having the time to go and exercise, eating healthy, and all those basic things. And sometimes I see that we tend to care so much for others that everybody else have done even these basic things, and then we only take what is left for ourselves. And that is not sustainable, because we also take often the same attitude to work, that we take a lot on our shoulders. So the balance to take some time just for yourself, and not to be selfish, but to fuel your tank so that you can even better serve the company where you're working, or serve your family, or to care for your family. And yeah, and then it's that communication. And unfortunately, if a woman is assertive, it's still in many occasions that it's seen as she's bossy. And if a man, I'm talking in the boardrooms and elsewhere, if a man is very assertive or is saying what he thinks and giving orders or what, it's just taken. And then when a woman steps into that role, there is still often this societal things that, she's so bossy, or what, this is not her place, even if she would be actually having officially be the leader of that organization or the manager of a particular unit or something like that. So how do we combine this, the systemic things or the systems, which is a lot to do with the supporting policies or strategies at the organizational levels, and then with this our sort of, even as women, sometimes we have this kind of blockages, just because the way we've grown up, the way we think we should be behaving, and even if the world is changing and our responsibilities in different spheres of life are actually becoming more and more equal to the men. And by the way, I think we can't also only look at, when we talk about the women empowerment, we can't only work with women, we also need to work with men so that they better support also the change and allow the space for the women, and vice versa. I think that's the main thing also. If we want to achieve the equality, we need to make space for diversity and beyond gender, diversity in general. And yeah, so I love my work, and I have seen so many women really getting through that, what they're used to, and even if it might be a lot of work or quite uncomfortable, but the way they are growing and really taking even better space in their lives. And when they do that, the beautiful thing is that they don't just do it for themselves, they do it for the benefit of others too. And yeah, they want to live with impact, they want to leave a legacy. And yes, so I would be interested, I don't know if we have participants from many other countries, if we're talking about the policies, because I think the United Nations declarations and different frameworks and all that, they're quite clear. And so it would be nice to know, how is it in your country? Do you have the women empowerment policies and programs in place? Yeah, thank you very much. I think that's my talk.
Thank you very much, Paulina. I think there was quite a lot, but not a lot, and I think we still needed more. What you put forward was very important. I think one of the key things you alluded to was the issue of gender equality, and how I like the perspective that you come up with. You come up with a perspective from a Western world, because like with us in Africa, the issue of gender equality, women empowerment, it's not on top of the list, or else it's not taken equally as other things that are needed in a country. But you talk about Finland. You said you are number 6 in terms of the women's rights, which is very, very interesting. And I believe as we go with our YUCI or Youth United Council of India, we could learn some things from those other countries to say, what is it that they are doing? Because it's mainly the African countries and other countries that always talk about women empowerment. What are the things that we are complaining about? But other countries, they focus on other things. women empowerment issues are already collaborated within the programs, and there's no issue about it. There's budget, there's everything that is provided. So I think that insight was very important for us to know how can we then shape our own policies going forward. And thank you very much for that presentation, Paulina.
You're welcome.
I understand Eucharia is here now. Are you here, Eucharia? Eucharia, have you joined us? Eucharia, have you joined us? Can I quickly check her in a minute, please?
Eucharia is here, but then she's not responding. I guess she.
Okay, I'm just asking her to join. Okay, please. Did you allow her in?
Yes, she's here. Yeah, now she's responding.
Yeah.
Okay, Eucharia, can you please introduce yourself?
Oh, okay. Okay. Let me turn my video on. Hello. Yeah, my name is Eucharia Olutunwaichi, a Nigerian, the Director of Exchange and Linkage Programs Unit of the University of Port Harcourt, and I'm an environmental biochemist. Very special interest in child protection issues and women, gender. I'm very happy to be here. I don't know if I take it away or I'll be introduced one more time. Should I go on to talk?
Just introduce yourself, and then when you're done, you can continue and talk, please. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so I'm very happy that today we could talk about empowering women in our climb to become who we want to be. So a lot of insights have come out from the last speaker, dealing with what we can do as individuals, as a community, as institutions, to empower women, to give the women voice, to make them express themselves, be the best version of themselves, tap into the full potentials that they have. Because we have a lot welling up in us as women, but some barriers, cultural barriers, social barriers, maybe family, some other stereotypes have come to affect us from reaching our full potentials. So we're asking the question, how can we give a little push to women, not to do more than they can do, but to do what has been embedded in them supernaturally. We have a lot in us. I'm a living example, and I've been working with women, with young girls who have metamorphosed into women. And the women, like the last speaker said, we have a lot, we have the leadership skills, we have the caring ability to care for others. But I found that a lot of time we want to empower women, we want to train the women, we want to make the woman develop. But we have challenges within ourselves. How can women empower women? So there are many ways we can do that for women to empower women. In our viewpoints, we seem to differ in making effort to see that we raise the status of women, either through education, raising awareness, even the literacy status, and running different kinds of training. So I see we get more support even from men, not from women. Women are not doing a lot to support women. What can women do to support women so that we can be empowered? The empowerment that comes from women are more long-lasting. He said earlier, the last speaker said, we are caring. So when we come out as mentors, women mentor to women, we care, we take by hand. The mentorship we do is not like a champion who just pushes you to fire up and lets you go, but like a mentor who takes you, make sure, look backwards to see that you are following or going side by side you. So I want to encourage all the women in this room and beyond, those who are going to be listening or reading about this very important meeting, to encourage women because it's more sustainable. What can we do that becomes sustainable when women empower women? That is the more lasting solution to empowering women. And we also think of policies. What are the enabling policies that will support women to stand up on their 2 feet, not on one, and then get a balance? If we look at the world power, like the America in 2006, America was said to be the third in the economic gender equality rating. But what happened 10 years later, they fell to number 26. What that tells us is we can't rest on our oars. Whatever effort we put in today, we must continue to make efforts so it can be sustainable. We have to service the effort that we put in together to get the women stand on their 2 feet. So we have to think of how to boost self-esteem. How do we get out there and people maybe in the political arena, men are trying to take up the president position, the chairman position, and the women are thinking of being vice chairman, of being vice president. I mean, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I stumbled onto a constitution written for a group. And then when they describe the role of the vice president, they say she must be maybe with the organization for 5 years. I said, why she must be? He or she or they must be. Why do you say she? But when they were writing about president, they said he must be. So we need to boost the self-esteem of the women to believe in the can-do spirit. We have done it, we are doing it, and we can do it. Ellen Sirleaf did it as a president, waged a lot of war against women and against the nation, and left real, very significant footprints in her country. A lot of women have done it. So why can't we do it? Women empowering women. I call it women recharge women. In my profession as an academic, how many women have I encouraged, maybe into grad program, or even teaching them how to do research or science communication to get known in your field? How many of the young girls in secondary school, high schools, primary schools, am I watching out for to see that we can direct them properly, given the potential that they can tap and get into the best version of themselves? Are we in the practice of believing that women should offer some courses like nutrition, food and nutrition, or being a secretary? Or we don't think that women need to learn maybe physics, maybe IT skills? These are very few that we don't have a lot of women. What can we do to get women? Are we continuing with making toys that beautiful baby like fairies that are not moving for girls? And then we have mechanized toys for boys. We get them cracking. As women who bring up children, we buy the toys that are immovable. Child, we shut down their brain. They can think, they can create, they take instructions and just perform within the bounds. I think we need to change it, knowing that we have to empower, to unleash all the potentials that are in women, in girls. Because if we shut down this high percentage of people in the universe, we see we're shooting ourselves on the foot. Shut down negativity. There was a time in my country that a woman contested for the position of the president and she got just her vote. Where are all the women? Does it mean nobody believed in her? It's just very unreasonable. that we have a lot of negativity around the women as women. We believe, oh, maybe a lot of envy. I don't know what the problem is, but we have to really try to come out as women to see that we encourage our fellow women, be the voice that they need to hear, be that inner voice when, we are complicated beings because we are of many parts. We are doing different things at the same time. Imagine being a nursing mother, being a career woman, being a home manager, and keeping with all the societal expectations. We can change the narratives. Nobody said this work is for a woman. Yes, you can do as much as you can, but try to develop the inner potentials that you've got in yourself. Some of us can draw, so you can become a good artist and earn a living. If you don't earn a living, you keep drawing to service people, you're just entertaining. We have to make it a career, earn money from it. That's the only way it becomes a career. Some of us are talented, but we only use those talents to entertain. We are dancers, we're dancing to entertain people. We can make career dancing and earn money out of it, and also develop a structure around it, make a business. We have to be open and honest as people who want to develop other women. And we have to join force and form a network. I like it that this program is going on today. A lot of people, if you look at the team in the panel, in the speaker list, you see that it is very diverse. This is what we need to do. Be open and honest and form a network so we can leverage on our experiences and peculiarities and similarities and get better. Make real advocacy for female colleagues in NGO work, in workplaces, for those who are entrepreneurs. Make advocacy for female colleagues where they shut out because of peculiarities or maybe breaks in career due to marriage, pregnancy, and other associated concerns of women. Are we making enough advocacy when we find ourselves among the policymakers? Are we making efforts to influence the policies to make sure there is inclusivity? Leading by example. If we're given the opportunity to lead, what are we doing as women? What are we saying? This is a very important way to show what women are capable of doing. When we miss the mark, we make the news. Miss the mark and make the news. The world wants to hear that a woman has fallen. And then they will seek to justify themselves. We told you these are second-class citizens. So we really have to be examples. Be that version that we want the world to see us as, the perception we want. We have to show that by example. We have to intervene in the communities in providing clean water, providing food in different ways that we can, and support women who run businesses. How can we support them? Go give them lectures, go show them about credit, services, insurance, different kinds of things that can support them to see that they are sustainable in their escapades. And then knowing your worth. Do you know your worth? I am so much worth gold, silver. I am beyond a measure what you can weigh on a scale. So know your worth. Know that you can give a lot to the world. You have a lot in you, even if you're a fashionista, even if you're a hairdresser, whatever you are doing, without you, that field will be short of one person, and that is you. So know your worth and always show that you can deliver. At some point, like a peacock, show off and come back. Like the peacock, it doesn't sustain the feathers when it peacocks. When it goes, it comes back. So we peacock, show what we've got, we come down and continue to learn lessons from what we are doing and continue to fight against injustice in the land, in the society, in our workplaces, in our businesses. Continue to fight injustice because we've got the voice, and now our voices are heard at last. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, YUCI. I think, I don't know whether you and Paulina had a discussion before you came to this panel discussion, because most of the issues you're talking about, they touch to the issues of the social aspects of who you are, what you do, what effort do you put in whatever you're doing, and also how we are perceived by society as women and men, not just by our gender, but even how we are, the toys that they buy us, they encourage men to be, powerful, muscle, all these powerful cars. With you, there's those soft dolls, and you can't do anything. You just handle that doll, and that's it. So it's all goes to all kind of how we are raised and how we do things. So I think your presentations are very, very similar, and thank you very much for alluding to that. But I have a question that I would like both of you to answer. I'm sorry, Pauline, I'm coming back to you again. There is a notion called pull down syndrome, and normally it's done by women to other women. And that kind of hinders empowerment of women, because if one woman there is trying to go up the ladder, other women is trying everything in their power to pull them down. But because you kind of talk about having like advocacy groups, supporting each other, but we have this thing called pull down syndrome, even though it's not articulated properly, but it is out there. What do you think about it, and how do you think we can do as women to make sure that it doesn't affect all the efforts we put to the empowerment of women?
If I may respond to that question, pull down syndrome, pull hair down. That's what we call it in Nigeria, pull hair down.
Oh,
yes. Yeah, so when you got a PhD as a woman, we say you got pull her down, because other women are going to be pulling you down, thinking you're running so fast, you want to be sophisticated, you want to feel important, so it is time to pull her down. So what I think we can do, and we are doing from this little corner for me in my Women in Science, so we try to build the competencies and capacities of our fellow women. So when most people can do similar things, I think the pull head down syndrome begins to go down, disappear into the teen space. When only one woman or two women in a very large crowd can do 1, 2, 3, so other women feel, especially where they are culturally disadvantaged. So maybe these are the favored group, the favored or the connected women. So they badmouth you, they gossip, they try to turn things around for negative, not for positive around you, so you can get down, and then they laugh. You felt you were so important, now you can see you can come down and be on the same level with us. So we think if we can continue to build ourselves, help, for example, help a mom to adjust, maybe maternity leave, paternity leave, for the men to help the women to go back to work and feel like human beings, moving policies, supporting them, and also driving implementation. Some countries have paternity leave, but they are not implemented. We don't have one in Nigeria. Only the woman goes on maternity leave. So if we can make advocacy or ensure that those policies that are in place are implemented, because many of them are on the shelves, and make the women know that the opportunities are for everybody, not for a selected few. So this reduces the friction we have among women if they know that they can all equally come up to the limelight and also shine out to other people. Then if we continue to show appreciation for other women in our circles, so they know that they are equally important. If you have an event, for example, and a woman comes to clean the venue, another woman is a guest speaker, another woman made the decoration of the venue. So maybe in your vote of thanks, you only appreciated the speakers who are sophisticated women, and you don't acknowledge the person who made the serene environment, the beautiful atmosphere that you can look at and then think properly. Remember all you have in your head, because everywhere is beautiful. So when you forget this group of women, they continue to plot against the others because they seem to have some importance attached to the other women. So I think we need to appreciate everybody in our lives, the women, okay, to see that whatever they're doing, that they are rewarded equitably, and then that they are appreciated. Words of appreciation can never be enough for any favor that is rendered or any service that is rendered. And let's continue to keep our girl children in school, because it's really very crucial for them to get education. So when they grow into women, they stop doing the pull head down syndrome. Some start pulling down from high school, primary school, maybe in the race, those who go on to marathon. You see when they pull the women, the fellow girls back because they are girls. And if they are boys, they seem to allow them take the lead. So if we educate from that tender age before the girl becomes a woman, she would have had a different angle to life, and then will have more tendency not to pull her down, but to encourage her, so that together we are bigger and better.
Thank you very much, YUCI. I'm not sure, Paulina, if you want to add something, or she has said everything. Paulina? I'm not sure if Paulina is still here.
Okay, I'm here. Sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
Now so I couldn't unmute myself. It was, So I think this is quite interesting, and I'm sort of wondering what are all the reasons why we have this tendency in certain places, certain cultures, that we sort of pull each other down or backstab, and especially amongst women. And I think one could be reason could be sort of thinking that there is scarcity, that it's not enough for all of us. That if we think that it's only one or two who can achieve something, and that it's scarce resources and it's not enough to share, or not enough for all of us to shine, then it becomes this kind of a competitive process, or even trying to make space for yourself, or for by pulling somebody else down, sort of jealousy and that scarcity mentality. But I think it's also about a worldview. In the world, we have different kind of cultural backgrounds and worldviews, and if we have a sort of maybe power fear type of a worldview, then it is to say that there are few people who are powerful and the rest must be the fearful followers, or things like that. But I've also seen, I think this is if we can believe that actually there is space for all of us to shine in different ways, and if we can not to be fearful or have that kind of negative competition, but to see how can we move forward together as sisters, as women, like as sisters, and support each other. I think that strategy would be much more powerful, and we would actually get that more equal share in various areas of life. So all that, if one can leave the negative thoughts and emotions behind and focus even at a personal level to focus on seeing and building that your confidence and seeing, even if things are challenging, trying to see the opportunity there and try your best and support each other as women. I think that is very important. I think this is an area that often comes and I think this is an area that I might need to do some research on, because I don't think it is all over the world. I think it is in certain contexts more than in other contexts. Yeah, so I don't know, it would be interesting to hear if others have more insights.
Yeah, that's very interesting, very interesting, very interesting. I think we're expecting one more panel member, but unfortunately we're unable to reach her. So I think what I will do, I'll just quickly just go through what I picked up out of the discussions that the panelists had, and which I will also say maybe it could be one of the recommendations we put forward to YUCI, to say what impact or what contribution as the youth we can make in the women empowerment in terms of strengthening policies, supporting policies, and also having a voice even within government when they make policies, to know what are the things that matters to us in order for us to succeed. So I just picked up about 6 or 7 points. I'll just read them as pointers. It's something that we can write neatly and share at a later stage. One of the recommendations that come through, the first one was that the government should support in terms of funding, like the NPOs. I think that point came from Refilwe, when she was saying if government should put something on the table, that would go a long way, because there's a lot of work that is done by the NPOs, the NGOs, that government don't have time to do, or even government can focus on other things, and then these NPOs can do that kind of work. And the second point was talking about progressive policies. I think the point came from Paulina, where she was sharing with us, why are we struggling so much about women issues, and it's always an issue, there are problems there and there. And she mentioned that government from the onset, they consider that, so it's part of the whole policy of the country, and you don't even have to isolate it from other things. So I think having those progressive policies might assist us as well. And the third point was the issue of women empowerment, the issue of socialization, the social aspects, and also to say as women, we must take our space. We must take our space in the boardrooms. We should not always be seen behind. You are in the boardroom, but you let men lead. Not to say men cannot lead, but you are able to lead as well. So as women, we should take that power back on ourselves to say we can do it and we can do it. And the fourth point was to say men need to be part of this gender diversity, because it's important when they understand who we are as women. I think I was listening to one woman who was talking about how powerful women are, how diverse, how many things they can do at the same time. She made an example that the woman will be carrying a baby at the back, and she will be cooking food on the stove, and the baby will be crying, and she'll be singing so that the baby can stop crying. You know, so many things that they can do at the same time. So the more they understand who we are not that compared to how men do things. it's like men can do better. It's not because, it's just because we are women, we are made in a certain way and we do things in a different way, but we still reach the same goals. And the fifth part, I think that was touched by Eukarya, in terms of the networking. That's very, very important. Do we form networks, advocacy groups, policies? Are they there? Not just there, are they being implemented? And I think Paulina also touched on the issues of systematic supporting strategies that are very important. And the last part, the last point, I think it came mainly from the question that I asked of pull down syndrome or pull head down syndrome, is that women need to support each other. As women, we don't do that. We are not happy when other women are moving up the ladder. We, like Eukarya was saying, we go to the corners and we do all those things. But in a nutshell, as women, we have it. We can do it. We need to support each other. And for us to achieve women empowerment, we need to be together and know those things and know that it's not only one aspect. It's a number. It's an integrated approach that will make us succeed. So those are just a few pointers that I can put forward as recommendations from this panel. We will definitely, this is not the last part of the whole thing. And one of my responsibility, which I will just continue because I'm on the podium, is to do a vote of thanks. I would like to thank you very much. First, I would like to thank Vimal, who did most of the work, the runaround, everything that you see nice, your pictures and everything. He's behind all the brains of that. Thank you very much. You did a lot of work for us as women, and we really appreciate very much. We had to sit down because, like, in South Africa, it's Women's Month, so we had to put our feet up and do nothing. But Vimal made me to work anyway. Then also, I would like to thank our panelists. I think that was a very nice, rich discussion, and I think let's not end up here. I think it's a discussion that we should take forward and maybe have a platform where we could share such things, such frustrations, because one of the things as women, we don't have platforms where we share our frustrations, especially women that are in leadership and high positions, because they say as you go up, the colder it becomes. So you do need a place where you can say things that you want to say. And I would like to thank everyone, all the speakers and all the speakers that were here before this panel discussion, and that are still going to continue delivering their speeches. Thank you very much, and we will still continue to tune in. And we thank you very much. We think out of this panel discussion, something nice is going to come out, but we'll discuss that and we'll communicate. Thank you very much.